run is, focused on Latin America in particular, and developers and the talent down there. And I think a lot of people are now coming to realize how not only active this talent is on building a new technology, but how good they are and how skilled these developers are and how ambitious they are, especially dealing with other circumstances that maybe we don't have to deal with, or we deal with different circumstances here in the States. But tell me a little bit about the developers you're working with, or the leaders that you're working with out in Latin America. What kind of revolution are you seeing in the amount of technology and talent coming out of the area?
Yeah, of course. Well, in Latin America, I was born in Argentina. I always lived here. I still choose to live here, even though the country always struggled economically, as it's publicly known. But what you see in Argentina is probably because it's in our DNA, because we were always struggling with things that I don't know. I'm just trying to guess that may be the reason. There's a lot of good talent. I mean, we have good education here. It's very good talent. And the talent is always focused on finding the solution to problems, because since we were born, I was born during a hyperinflation cycle. And now I feel like we are going into a second hyperinflation cycle in my country. And that's something that crosses you. And what we are seeing here is that the talent and the developers, that the builders, we call it the builders, that we see in at least in Argentina, where have that DNA of all the time keeping looking for the solution to problems on the daily life. And that's one of the things. And it's not only in Argentina, it's also across Latin America. And sometimes because of currencies and so on, that talent is also affordable. So it's been selected by big companies around the world, like Polygon, and for example, just one. And that is creating here a powerful ecosystem that is growing all the time. I mean, people are funding places where they gather in order to build. The hackathons are constantly, and the very strong community, to be honest.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. The community out there is so not only fascinating, but they're so skilled, and the degree of problem solving and the amount of attention to detail in those communities is something that I think is very unique to the area. What are some, just out of curiosity, what are some countries that you feel are kind of leading the charge in building the next generation of Web3 products and applications and technology overall?
Yeah, you can find across Latin America many different projects. I think that it may sound like on purpose because I live here, but I think Argentina leads it. Argentina has, I mean, per capita, maybe more than the other countries in Latin America in that talent for crypto. It always been like that. I mean, Decentraland, Ripio, Zeppelin, many of the companies that today are gigantic, they come from Argentina. But besides Argentina, I can say that Colombia, I saw in Colombia a very powerful ecosystem. So it really surprised me, the amount of companies that are building on Web3, the size of the events that are being held around Web3 is also big. And and also Brazil. Brazil was always into crypto, maybe more the traditional part. And I think Brazil is now doing the switch from the traditional crypto use cases as trading and all that stuff into Web3. And all the rest of the countries also are starting. But I think those three countries are the ones leading. It's my gut feeling.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of the talent that we communicate with and are in touch with are from those communities. And also, I mean, it's just dispersed now globally because of remote work. And after the pandemic, there really has created this standard for having remote work being kind of the best way to access great talent. But I'm curious, shifting back to Ripio and the products and the team that you're working with, what are some of the products that you're working with right now?
You mean from Ripio Ventures?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, from Ripio Ventures, we are investing in any sort. I mean, we are agnostic as long as it's Web3. We are also agnostic on geography. I mean, we can invest in a product from Latin America, but also a product from Africa. The idea is to have impact on the life of the millions of people on Earth and using Web3 tools, right? But from our perspective, what we have investing in is in DeFi. I mean, many of the projects that come
Yeah.
to us, like are from DeFi. I mean, DeFi is a very solid, real use case for today life, and I think that drives a lot of interest into DeFi. Also, DAOs. I mean, we are seeing many DAOs structuring, and also DeSci. It's something that it's still in early stages. It's decentralized science. It's in
Yeah.
early stages, but we are exploring it, and we find it like it is amazing, and the community is
Yeah.
growing. And also the impact of Web3 on social, which
Yeah.
is kind of it's a hard one, because if you think of social, you think of a couple of companies that are controlling all the social interactions. But now with Lens and all this shift on Web3 social, there are a couple of companies that are popping that we are really looking into them, and we see a lot of power there. Those are the four, I think, verticals that we are seeing right now. But we are all the time in contact with people and
Yeah.
receiving different type of startups that are building on Web3.
Yeah. But I'm curious about decentralized science, because I haven't heard that as popular as, say, DeFi, DAO, and even there. I think I signed up for, yeah, I did, for Web3. I was kind of social network, and that one I'm really excited about. In essence, I would appreciate an experience where I didn't feel targeted by a certain message or an algorithm catering to a specific ideology, because I think it's easy to follow down that rabbit hole once you select a few different preferences in your search history. But I think I think humans, very much like a variety of information, and do like to view the other side of their perspective, to acknowledge or appreciate or maybe even challenge their own ideas. But yeah, tell me a little bit about this decentralized science. How does that function? How does that work? And is that like information and connecting information? Is that, I'm just curious more about decentralized science.
No, it's a great question. To be fully honest, I'm starting on it. I'm starting to investigate more and more about it. It's kind of new. I mean, it's the last thing on Web3 that I heard of so far, and it's very disruptive. The potential that it has. Basically, there's a group of people that started this idea that science is very powerful. And science has potential to change the world. But today, the way people are doing science, the way science is published, the way science is founded, is very archaic. I mean, it's from another century. And the idea of decentralized science is bringing crypto tools like global tools, global funding, like open publishing and all that stuff into science. And into the scientist work. Basically, that's what they are trying to disrupt in order to make it like more open. And what I'm doing is reading, listening to talks and podcasts. I think most of us are doing the same, because I feel it's really valuable what they are trying to achieve. And we always see that crypto has potential to change things, and these people are doing to science. So if you can unleash the potential of science, let's say that today's science received funding basically from government and labs, and maybe not much more than that. And if you can turn it, and the publishing is only by a couple of publishers, let's say that
publication
free, and and you need to have a lot of credentials and so on. So if you can challenge that and you can disrupt that, using crypto technology, for example, the power that you can unleash that is exponential. I'm still trying to decide exactly or to see projects that are doing something for real. But I think it has a lot of potential, and it's only to continue with this idea that you can do lots of good things with Web3 tools.
Yeah. I love the science piece. I was talking to another founder who was discussing the ways his platform was essentially allowing different companies to get essentially venture-backed funding but through a decentralized platform that they were using. And it essentially creates a ledger and there's a credit score that is associated with that. So not only do you get, a certain amount of loan on whatever you're looking to use it for, and then once you pay back, that contributes to an overall credit score. So it's like decentralizing that as well. But the piece that really was interesting was that there was a research company that it was a part of their platform and they were using it as a way to get funding. And I love that idea because yeah, science pushes a lot of ideas, a lot of standard, like, social and healthcare standard, whether it's technology or medicine, what have you, forward in a positive direction. But what's awesome to hear too is like maybe it influences the peer review process. If there's a published paper and there's a decentralized peer review process, then it only either it continues to validate that idea or invalidates that idea, but maybe pushes another narrative that then is that then is more has more validity as something like a stronger body of work. Because we see it today, a lot of times we see old papers being discredited by new research, and maybe there's some kind of omission that they didn't say back then. Who knows, right? There's sometimes some nefarious reason to push that forward, but this decentralized idea is incredible to see in the impact on science.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing to see how all the things that we consider like that are there, and you cannot question that. And now with this Web3, it's like completely, it's being disrupted, and it's being, and we are starting to think things differently, and that's awesome. I mean, that's what science is about.
Yeah.
And I think we should all do that. It's good.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about Ripio and the success you've had in the certain companies. Are there any companies that you're particularly excited that you invested in that are now growing? Tell me a little bit more about the traction. You said you've grown to about 400 employees. I think that's what you said.
Oh, yeah, no. To be clarify on that, Ripio Ventures is our new project, which is the venture capital fund. It's a new one. I mean, we started 7 months ago, right? As of today, and so far we have invested in 8 companies, and it's growing fast, and we are getting our name out there, and people are starting to get to know us and looking for us. Ripio is the mother company, or the company that I worked to raise before that. Ripio started as and I can tell you a bit about Ripio, which I think it's a very, very nice history. Ripio was the first decent crypto wallet created by Latin American founders in history. Before Ripio, all the wallets that you have available, if you are in Argentina, let's say 2013, or any country in the region, were wallets created in Europe or in the US. And Ripio was the first one to be launched in Argentina, and the first one that have the possibility, like a sort of on-ramp. It was in drugstores. I mean, you have to go to a drugstore, and that was the only possibility. No bank whatsoever heard of it, and it was extremely complex time when I joined Ripio. That's when I joined, just 2014, and it was hell of a ride. Imagine I joined in 2014 after the 2013 Bitcoin bull market, and from that we took the company from one country, which is Argentina, and 1,000 clients, to 6 countries, 3 million users, and different product lines, like 6 product lines for institutional investors, B2B integrations, and so on and so forth. And it was really challenging. I mean, challenging at every level, challenging at the regulatory level, challenging because every bear market, you always freak out that you are going out of business. But I think the company is now, Ripio is now Series B. It worth $500 million, and it's a very powerful and well-known company that started a venture capital firm